Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a shame your honeymoon was so brief, but I know you were both anxious to get back and get settled in your new house.
Yes, we were.
Scarlett, now that Raven is going to be the mistress of this Whitney household, I hope she develops a certain sense of responsibility.
Yes, I do too.
You could help her along those lines, you know.
What do you mean?
Well, it seems to me you could be a little more responsible toward Raven. Talk to her. Don't shut her out, Scarlett. Give a little of yourself.
Has she talked to you about me?
As a matter of fact, she has. She came to me last week and asked me about your past, your background, your friends. All of those things should come from you, my dear.
Yes, well, I really haven't had the time to go into it. What is it that she wanted to know exactly?
Well, she asked me specifically about a friend of yours, someone named Jonathan something or other.
Jefferson? Jeff Brown?
Yes, that was it.
Geraldine, I do hope that you'll excuse me for a moment. I've got a business call to make. I'll only be gone a few minutes. Would you mind ordering me another drink? Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am. The gentleman will have another drink and then we'll order.
Sure.
Slade, this is Mr. Harrison. I got your message. What's up?
The message was to see me in person. I never talk business on the phone. It has to be face to face.
Now listen, I'm a busy man. I can't go running.
Look, what does this mean? Have you decided you're in love with your wife, after all?
All right. All right, where and when?
No, don't bother, really. I'm fine. Have you had lunch? No, I haven't. Oh, well, have lunch with me then, okay? We can leave as soon as I get a telephone call I've been waiting for. I'd like that. Okay. In the meantime, how can I help you?
Well, I went to the hospital this morning to start making funeral arrangements.
Oh, no, Valerie, you didn't. You shouldn't have. Why didn't you call me? I could have been of some help.
I know, Mrs. Carr, but I can't lean on everybody forever. I mean, there's some things that only I can do. There are other things, however, that I feel I need to share.
Like what?
When I went to the hospital, they gave me a suitcase that had all Daddy's personal belongings in it. And as I started going through the case, I found, or actually, Carlo found, hidden in the lining, this letter.
Hidden?
Yes. And it was addressed to me from Daddy.
Well, that's curious. Why would it... Valerie, are you sure you want me to read this?
Yes, I am, Mrs. Carr. But let me read it to you. It's not very legible. My most dear Valerie, first of all, please know how much I love you. Since the death of your mother, you are the only person in the world I have loved with all my heart. I know you must be puzzled by my refusal to see you these past few months. But surely you realize how ashamed I've been of the criminal actions facing me at this time. Above that, however, is my fear that you might be in some danger if certain people involved in my past activities believe I have given you information information which might reveal them to the authorities both here and abroad. By my silence, then, and by sealing myself off from you completely, I think, I pray, I have protected you from those present dangers and possible harm. Since I am confined to prison, no doubt, for a long time, it is the final act of concern and love I can offer you. My deepest regret is that I have left you so poor a legacy. I hope you will find it in your heart to forgive me someday. I love you, Daddy.
It's so, it must have been very hard for him to write that. I don't understand why your father felt that he had to conceal this, because it is, after all, a simple personal note.
I don't know, Mrs. Carr. I'm scared. I don't know what all this means.
So why did he go to the trouble of hiding it?
Hi, Cliff.
Mike, you're early. No, I'm sorry. I'm late. Well, aren't you going to wish me happy birthday?
I'd be delighted to if you give me a chance.
It is my birthday, you know.
I know. That's why I came here to take you to lunch.
Well, actually, it isn't my birthday.
What?
Well, my birthday was 2 months ago, Mike, but I gave this party and nobody came, so I rescheduled it for today.
So you sent me that memo about your birthday as a ploy to get a free lunch?
No.
Cliff, that tie is awful.
Mike, this is the tie you gave me for Christmas.
I did not. I gave you suspenders so you could do your Clarence Darrow impersonation.
Oh. Well, I can't go to lunch just yet anyway.
No?
Yeah, I'm expecting a prospective client. You know, I lost a client. Dr. Bryson died. That reminds me, I have to convey my respects to Valerie. This won't take long, though.
All right, Cliff. I've arranged a long lunch period anyway.
Oh, that must be her right now. Un instant. Entree.
Monsieur Nelson?
Je m'appelle Clifford Nelson. Appelez-vous Cliff?
Bonjour, je m'appelle Martine Duval.
Je suis heureux de faire de votre connaissance.
C'est mon plaisir.
Permettez-moi vous présenter
I think
mon...
Mr. Nelson is trying very nicely to introduce me in French. I am Miss Duval.
Yes.
Oh, are you Mr. Carr? I think we've met.
That's right. Nice to see you again, Mr. Val. Cliff, maybe I should wait outside.
Oh, no, stay. I'm sure Mr. Ball would like the benefit of two brilliant legal minds instead of one.
I need every help possible.
Well, as long as I'm not intruding.
Oh, no. Well, shall we, how do you say sit?
Sit down.
Yes, of course. Sit down.
Thank you.
Well, we talked briefly, but I didn't get many details. You say you're interested in a divorce.
Yes, but I'm afraid the problems surrounding a divorce for me are going to be very complicated.
Well, how so?
Well, my husband is a fugitive from justice.
Mr. Val, I should remind you that as district attorney, anything you say in my presence might require the application of my authority here.
Yes, I do understand that. But you see, there is absolutely nothing I can tell you about this man, because I don't know where he is.
So then you want to divorce him in absentia?
I want to divorce here in Monticello.
Mr. Val, that means in his absence, without his presence here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that's what I meant, of course. In absentia?
In absentia. Absence?
Oh, I see.
Go on.
Well, my husband is wanted by the police in Europe.
On what charge?
Robbery. I'm sorry to say that.
Were you aware of his activities?
No. I haven't seen him in a very long time. But I want a divorce. But I have been told by attorneys in this country that I don't have sufficient grounds for that.
Well, grounds for the divorce vary from state to state.
Why?
I don't know. A quirk of the American legal system, I guess.
You see, in many states, a felony conviction is sufficient grounds.
Yes, but you see, my husband actually never been convicted of a crime. He's never been arrested.
Well, then we couldn't use that. What about desertion? How long has it been since you've seen or heard from your husband?
almost a year now.
Well, in some states, like Nevada, a year is sufficient. In this state, it takes 3. But to cut down on the time, you could establish residency in Nevada in 6 weeks.
6 weeks? Oh, tell me if I understand. Are you telling me that it is possible?
Oh, it's possible, Mr. Ball. But before we proceed, you better be sure this is exactly what you want to do.
My dear.
Hi.
How do you do?
Of course you know Valerie Bryson.
Indeed. Miss Bryson, I'd like to extend my condolences.
Thank you, Mrs. Saxon.
And I would like to extend my sympathy as well, Miss Bryson.
Thank you, Mr. Whitney.
Please, won't you join us?
No, thank you, dear. We're just going to have a quick bite and then get back to work, both of us.
Mr. Whitney, I'd like to thank you, though, before I go, for making me the offer with the International Photo Service.
Offer what offer?
Oh, well, the Arlington Photo Company offered me a job in Europe. Arlington is one of your companies, isn't it?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, it is. And if I do say so myself, they've got one of the best reputations in the business. But I'm afraid I didn't know anything about an offer. Did you decide to accept it?
No, I didn't.
Well, I'm sure you've got your reasons.
Actually, it was all the traveling that wasn't quite appealing to me at this point. But I thank you.
Well, since I'm not responsible, I'm afraid I can't take the credit. But I'm sure it's Arlington's loss.
Our table is ready, Valerie. Excuse us. Nice to see you.
Nice to
Goodbye,
meet you.
Geraldine.
Yeah. And that was quite a coincidence, wasn't it?
What?
One of your companies offering Miss Bryson a job, I mean.
Yes, I suppose it is. But Geraldine, as you know, I've got interests in and outright ownership in a number of companies. I can't keep track of the day-to-day business of each one.
No, of course not. Still, life is full of coincidences. You met her before in Switzerland, I believe, some years ago.
Yes, I did, and I didn't even recall until she reminded me of it. Waiter, Geraldine, I do hope that you'll forgive me for cutting lunch short, but a check, please. That call I made earlier, well, it involves some rather important business. If I don't deal with it immediately, it may become unsurmountable. I am sorry. I will make it up to you, though, I promise.
Well, you've been nervous as cat all during lunch. It must be something very important.
Yes. That I assure you. It is something very important. Yes, nice.
Hi there. You're Carlo Crown Photo Studio, Gavin Wiley? Oh, sure, of course. I saw you at the Whitney wedding. Right. Mr. Whitney has asked me to take some rehearsal pictures of the company for a publicity spread that's due next week. Sure. Just stay out of the way, will you? Count on it. You're late, pretty girl.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I was stuck in traffic with Nicole.
Never mind the excuses. Just trying to be on time, will you?
Same old grouch, aren't you?
No. I just don't want you to be away from me too long, that's all.
Now, that's what I like to hear.
Listen, before we start rehearsal, I've got to talk to you.
What about?
Come on. Kelly was here earlier today.
Oh?
Yeah, we had a really nice talk, about us. He brought the subject up himself.
And?
And he knows about us, about our feelings for each other. He says he saw it coming, that he was aware of it before we were, at least before we admitted it.
How did he act? Did he seem hurt or unhappy or anything? Or...
He was cordial.
Well, what about his attitude?
Well, it was just a straightforward conversation,
I see that. That's good. I mean, it makes me feel better. Nobody likes to hurt anybody else.
No, of course not. Anyway, I get the feeling that he was happy because you're happy.
Good. Gavin, you understand that I still have to talk to him myself.
Well, of course I understand that. And when I told him that you wanted to speak to him yourself, you know what he said? He said, I'll make it easy for her.
Good. Well, listen, I better get dressed because I have this dance director who is an absolute holy terror if I'm late.
Well, you're not late. Except for this.
Mrs. Slade around?
He's in the back. Will be out in a couple of minutes.
Well, go get him. Tell him Mr. Harrison is here to see him.
Right.
Mr. Whitney, I'd like to thank you before I go for making me the offer with the International Photo Service. I received an offer from the Arlington Photo Company. I believe Arlington is one of your companies.
What an interesting coincidence. In any case, did you accept it?
No, I didn't. I think it was all the traveling that wasn't quite so appealing. But I do thank you anyway.
Life is full of coincidence, isn't it? You met Miss Brosnan several years ago in Switzerland, I believe.
Yes, and didn't even remember it until she recalled it to me several weeks ago. Tell me, young Miss Valerie Bryson, why do you waste so much of your time with me?
Now, that's an awful question. The answer should be obvious.
You're a beautiful young girl, Valerie. You should be spending your time in the company of men with faces.
You have a face. It just happens to be bandaged at the moment. Besides, I like your company. I just wish I knew more about you.
Well, really, I've told you just about all there is to tell. Anyway, when this is all over, your feelings might change.
Why would they change?
Oh, I don't know. They just might. Mine might. After all, a new face may mean a new life. Here's a whole new life.
You say something?
Nothing. I didn't say anything.
Huckleberry, why don't you go back and polish the cans, huh?
Okay.
I've been thinking a little bit about our business proposition. I've checked the terrain, cased your house, and I guess I'm ready to execute the job. It's non-negotiable. I want half the money in advance, the rest to come immediately after. Strictly cash. You understand?
You sure that you can handle this job?
I've been doing this for a long time, Mr. Whitney. Harrison. I'm a professional man, just like a doctor, a professor, a lawyer, or even a producer. And if I may say so myself, I have never had a failure.
I've heard. That's why I'm here speaking with you now.
Well, the grounds, the outline of your house seems simple enough. But you see, I like to lower the odds and prevent any kind of calculated risk. Therefore, you will secure all the advanced situations for me and make sure that the odds are in my favor, won't you?
Yes.
The house has to be empty, except for the subject, of course. You have 2 servants, The young lady and the big man.
You don't have to worry about them. I'm going to give them the night off.
Oh, I'm not worried about anything. As long as you follow my blueprint. Any alarms?
No, we've only been in the house a couple of weeks.
Well, how careless. With the rate of crime in the streets.
Now, you just listen to me, fellow. I want the job done without any complications, huh? I want there to be no pain, no fear. That's the way I want the job done. Clean.
I always do a very clean job. Mr. Whitney.
Harrison.
Mr. Harrison. I never question a man's motives, but this project intrigues me. Since you just married your wife, why do you want me to remove her?
You just said you never questioned motives.
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. Just tell me when.
I'm arranging a business trip. It'll be sometime next week.